There. Need a little color in the background. All right, so then I want to see. All right. Oh, let's see.
All right, so great. So the live is on.
So that's there.
All right, so I'm gonna go dark on my end.
One question before
Yeah.
you go. So I thought to have those links, actually the pictures of the Sarah Drake, Aiden Dillon, and Jody Horn from the show. So would you share your screen with those up, or should I share my screen, or just go through the whole thing without sharing and just have the links for those three people?
All right. So sorry, my speaker got messed up. Can you? So you want me to share those links that you sent before?
Yeah. Or should I share my screen at a certain point and have them already up on my computer?
It's really up to you, but I can just put those links in the chat function. That's totally fine.
Okay. Because I don't want to kind of take people away from what we're doing here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I kind of like to educate, but I could just reiterate, there are three really cool collage projects that you should take a look at, and you'll find them in the chat page or in the chat.
All right, so I'm gonna stop my video.
Okay.
I can hear you when you talk, so, and what I'll do is I'll monitor the chat in the YouTube page, and if there's any specific questions that I can't answer, I'll just pop it and say like, hey Ilene, it sounds like we have a a question from blah 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 about this.
I like that.
So I'll just do that.
Live human, thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. So I'm just going to double check and make sure that our link is good. But I think it should be.
I've got my digital clock here so I can do the countdown, because it's 1 o'clock through 1:45. or 1 o'clock to 2 p.m.?
1 to 1:45.
Okay. Gotcha.
Great. Great. The link works. Everything's good.
All right. So maybe I'll keep it set up like with this camera, and then I'll just before 1, I'll click in with my face.
Okay.
Good. Woohoo! So far, so good.
All right. I'm going to mute myself so I don't pop in so much. But if you need me, I'm here.
Okay. Good.
I have got my headphones in. I can hear you. So.
Okay. So I'm going to go away for a moment and then I'll come back.
Sounds good.
It says 1 to 2. Uh-oh. Welcome to Open Studio, live from the Minneapolis Institute of Art, or MIA. My name is Ilene Krug-Moisilov, and I am one of the lucky artists to be in the Foot in the Door show, number 5, this year. And that's the inspiration for this Open Studio collage that I'm going to bring you up to speed on. What you'll need a scissors, maybe some pieces of scrap paper or magazine pages, newspapers. There's somebody who has a great collage. That person is Aiden Dillon, and that collage on the Foot in the Door website is made up of barcode. So if you have a bunch of old boxes, cereal boxes, and whatever, mailers or anything you can find with that barcode, that black and white stripe with some numbers, that could be cool to use. Also, if you are a responsible person, over age 12 maybe, to use a cutter or X-Acto blade. Otherwise, what I love is material where you don't need to be precise, you just tear. So you have the magazine pieces, you have your other scraps to use, and maybe you have some markers by your side because you might want to rub out some things and add some things. And of course, your handy dandy glue stick or regular. Is it still good? Yes, I think so, but I prefer the glue stick. So some people like to plan out their collage. And so maybe a pencil and eraser might be nice because we're going to make a kind of grid because the main inspiration for this collage is to get challenged as an art installer and curator to install, let's say, if you had to install the Foot in the Door show 2,000 artworks on a wall space, how would you do it? Where would you build relationships between colors, some themes? Some of the artworks in this show are narrative. There's another artwork by, let me check, Judy Horn that's in the show, and it's of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. So there are portraits. So when you make your collage, and by the way, collage for me is about improvisation. So if I'm stuck with my artwork, I'm going to go to collage because it frees me up to just build relationships and start something. So now I'm going to turn the camera so you can see what I'm kind of doing. And so that will be, one moment, please. Good. All right. So here's the finished piece that I did. And well, it's 12 by 12, which is your Foot in the Door size, 12 inches by 12 inches. And then I actually was able to measure out the grid. So there are a lot of artists that use the grid as a way to organize their artworks. Now, if you don't want to be that fussy, that's fine with me. You could just start with a piece of white paper, no matter what size it is. So that's your backing. Oops, getting a little bit fuzzy here. White, it doesn't like white. Okay, so for example, if you had your, keep it down here then, your white paper, and you just want to grid it out without measuring, I do have this option for those who are very exacting, but let's not be that exacting. And you just want to fold it over in half, quarter, So if you thought about it, this would be the space for each artwork or each collage passage, let's call it. If you don't have the paper, you might even have, I had just to my left here, I had a piece of cardboard. So maybe you have a piece of cardboard lying around from a box, and you just cut out whatever size you want. That will be your starting point, okay? And then you will start preparing. Here's my cardboard, woohoo! So this is under the size that I first said, but it could be a great place to start. So I'm going to stop here and welcome any new people who just joined us. My name is Ilene Krug-Moisilov, and I am one of the lucky artists to be in the Foot in the Door show, number 5 this year, which will close January 10th. The virtual show will close. So please get online, go to Arts Mia after your open studio here, and check out the show, because it's great for community building. It's egalitarian. We submitted our works. There are a number of categories in the show. There's ceramics, mixed media, I'm reading here so because it's so great, textiles, painting, drawing, prints, and photography. So you could start out perusing that exhibition by going to your favorite media, and then just keep going and go down that rabbit hole and have fun looking at art. In the meantime, I do have a work in the exhibition. It's called Mint Flow, and it's a painting, and basically it's an abstract painting, but you can check that out when you need to. So I'm going to click the camera back to our work in progress, and I'm going to start playing around with relationships. So of course, before I clicked in here today, I prepared some of my elements. So again, improvisation. What if you just scattered them down, had a look, and just go with what pops out? Well, what pops out to me at this moment is these two elements here. So again, building relationships, yellow to yellow. I'm going to still stay organized in that grid formation, but remember, you don't have to do it that way. Just pointing out this element here has a tear line, and instead of trimming it with the scissors, this is a pre-cut edge, because you deal with edges when you're working with collage. And this is a tear line. So the contrast is kind of cool. Anyway, so maybe I like that. And I suppose during this period, winter and quarantine, you might be doing puzzles. So let's start puzzling together some of these elements. So here's something else I prepared. Not quite the size, so let's fold it down to about the size of the 2x2. And okay, I'll be picky and I'll trim that off. You don't have to, but you could overlap, but okay, I'm gonna be a little picky. But here we're getting some pattern. And okay, let's do another throw the dice kind of thing. So again, these are all 2x2 pieces that I prepared. Drop them down, spread them out. Okay. Well, I got that yellow theme going. So that's kind of cool when you have your favorite colors. So maybe you pick something with your favorite color. Today it's going to be yellow. And do I like anything else here? No, not right now. So let's put those over to the side and go with another roll of the dice, so to speak, and put these out. And then I see, all right, well, I don't see any yellow here, but I kind of like this. So it's not exactly a half moon, but it's got a nice curve in it, which is very different from what I have here already. So I like that. And I also encourage you with collage to build a box, build up your collection of different materials. So I have this corrugated piece of, I don't know, it's like specialty paper that I got many years ago. And I kind of like texture because it does have texture. I like feeling it. But then I look at this piece up here and it also has illusionary texture. So, what happens when these two go near each other? And then once again, this is also not a puzzle. So play with, before you even glue down anything, play with your relationships. All right, so I'm gonna greet some more people here. I would love to see more people. Hello, my name is Ilene Krug-Moisilov, and I'm a visual artist. And here is my studio in Minneapolis. And I'm one of the lucky people to be in the Foot in the Door show this year, Foot in the Door 5. So I have put together this collage project for you. And it's all about the challenge that the art installers and the curators at MIA have to hang the show. How do you hang all these works together? Because as you'll see when you look at the virtual exhibition Foot in the Door on the MIA's website, you're going to see that not all of these artworks are 2 dimensions or flat. There's ceramics, there's some multimedia pieces. So, and they're not all 12 by 12 inches. So how do you put them all together? I love that challenge. And I think about how curators put together an art exhibition in general, because you want your viewers to go through the space and start putting together some stories. For example, you're going to see that there are portraits in this show. And so one of the artists that I looked at on this virtual show, Foot in the Door, her name is Jody Horn. And if you go on the MIA website, go to the Foot in the Door show, you can scroll halfway down and then you type in the artist's name. So anyways, Jody Horn used portrait and collage, and her collage is kind of homage to Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and it's called Saint Ruth. So that's something you might want to look up. The other artwork in the show that I thought was really cool for collage is Aidan Dillon's artwork. It's called Icarus. And he uses barcode. So maybe from cereal boxes or mailers, or just that visual of the black and white, the stripes and the numbers of the barcode. And he arranges those in a collage pattern, his own unique pattern, which is super cool. And it shows that no matter what you have lying around, it can all be turned into art if you're willing. And that's why we're here today in our open studio. And one day you'll be able to drop by a real open studio at MIA, where you just have all the materials in front of you and you can play. because part of art making is play. You are making relationships between things. Maybe you're telling a story. So the elements, which I'm going to show you in just a moment, are used to, tell a story and make relationships. You can use color as a way to make relationships, texture as a way to make relationships, pattern. You might create a checkerboard pattern or any pattern that comes into your mind. Let me see, I wrote down, you can do light versus dark, build relationships with those, maybe each of, if you call them tiles or fragments, put them together to make an interesting artwork. And visual excitement is one phrase I like to use when I'm talking to myself about art making. Okay, so I'm going to change my view here, and I'm going to, sorry about that. I'm going to change the camera. Good. So back to our materials. So we have fragments. So these are pre-cut, but let's say you have a magazine handy and you just tear it apart. And I like that. Look at all these hands. That's very fun. Anyways, don't play, Ilene, don't play with that. Maybe I want to just tear some fragments here, approximately. So I might have, if you are just joining me, I'm making these fragments for my collage. We have magazine pages. We have even pieces of old drawings that will live a new life. We have, do have a scissors. If you're a responsible person, you could use your cutter. I even have a pencil and eraser, because when I was starting my idea here, I thought about creating sections, and you don't have to be super rigorous, but maybe you want to show. And in fact, if the art installers were thinking about how to put together a show of 2,000 artworks, they'd have to measure their available wall space. So the wall space from side to side, top to bottom. And then they have a rough idea, those installers and curators will have a rough idea. Well, we could install 16 works on this wall, or we could install 32 works on this wall if we made a grid or created sections where things would go. So those materials are there. I do have some markers. So some of these markers are permanent markers and some are not, but that's another thing that you could do. So let's say you want to, so here we go again. Here's some fragments that maybe I'd be working on. And maybe there's a fragment that I want to edit. So here's one. So there are letters, numbers, they can all be, I remember, you might not have heard me, but I talked about the barcode that Aidan Dillon used as his organizing feature. He collected so many of those stripy barcodes and those passes, but maybe you want to edit. So you like the letter E, but you don't want this part. So your markers will be fun. So I can still see that. So maybe I'd pick an even darker marker. To edit out what I didn't want. So that's a an option. Or you can add, so maybe you want this E to have some red in it because you want it to go with a fragment that has red. So as I said earlier, it's fun to just improvise or be spontaneous. So red to red. Okay. And I'm not being super fussy. So maybe I'm trying that, red to red. Here's more red. So red to red here. So again, if I'm working on a collage, and I think collage is great for times in your artistic practice when you feel like you're stuck on, a series of artworks that you're doing, and you just need to change the scene, change your brain. And so you want to just play with the fragments and see what comes up for you and try something different, because play and any kind of studio practice has its serious part where you know your direction and you know what you want to do. And then on another side, the exploration is also really important in giving you new ideas, and maybe a new series would be born out of this collage. So I see now, well, we've been hanging out for about 20 minutes. I'm going to click back here and greet you again. Anybody, any new people? Hi, it's Ilene Krug-Moisey-Love, and I'm hosting the open studio today from my own studio in Minneapolis. At a certain point, people will be able to gather at the Minneapolis Institute of Art for a Friday open studio. I know there's going to be an open studio this month again, January 22nd. And this next open studio is hosted by the Teen Arts Council, Teen Arts Program at MIA. And they'll be hosting in a couple weeks. So tune in with a wholly different project for you all to do. So if you're just joining us, we have some supplies prepared. So there's maybe a piece of cardboard, or if you want to follow 12 by 12 inches, the assigned size of the Foot in the Door show. So all artworks in that Foot in the Door show had to be 12 inches by 12 inches or smaller. So that's why I chose the idea of almost being a curator, being an art installer, and figure out through this practice of collage to put together an interesting group of relationships with fragments that you have lying around. So I'm going to continue on with my collage. I'm going to switch it out to the white paper. And I'm going to go back to the other view. Good. All right, does anybody have any questions? My friend Angela is monitoring the chat. So I wanted to know who's out there. Okay, so.
Ilene, it's Angela. Just letting you know that so far we haven't had any questions come up, but if any come up, I'll be sure to pass them on to you. We've got a few people saying they're excited to check out the exhibition and thanking you for being here today. So if anything comes up, I'll be sure to let you know.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. So I know I'm not alone in talking to myself. So I have this joke that when I'm talking to myself, I pretend I'm talking to my cat, but unfortunately I do not have a cat. I love cats. I do like animals, but I don't have an animal right now. So I'm glad I'm not talking to my cat.
Yeah, you're not alone today, Ilene. We have 78 people joining us.
Excellent. Woohoo!
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy to hear that. All right. So I'm going to keep going with my collage ideas. I thought to add some of the ideas that when I was working on this project, I said to myself, okay, write down some steps that people could follow. So when you're arranging, here's a good one. When you're arranging your pieces together, even before you've glued them down, you want to think about, and I have the square here. And remember I talked about red to red. Well, also here looks a little dark, but this is my gray texture, the actual texture. And then this is the illusionary texture. Here I found in this red stripy pattern, this is again from a magazine, but again, linear kind of lines, stripes, whatnot. But then you kind of want your eye to find a pattern. So here we have the square. And so we can work on, you could think about the diagonal. You could think about a curve. So once you have, and maybe some of you already have your elements already working for you. But again, this is the drawing, the failed drawing that will live again in some other way. And so why not? So the curve, so this drawing, let's call it, these fragments, they have a new life. And using, so maybe think about that tic-tac-toe idea, the diagonal. Again, we're in Open Studio because we're going to play. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's something that, again, when you're stuck and you don't know what else to do, but you want to do some art, try collage. And
Ilene, sorry to interrupt you, but we've got a question from Jessica who wants to know, how do you kind of elevate collage, or what else can you do rather than simply making it be a cutting and pasting? What are some things that you can do to kind of elevate it? Jessica asks.
Okay, great question. So I think what elevates it is maybe a thematic idea. So for example, when I was setting up here today, I found, I just at random, I took this from a magazine, and what I had, and I did see it out of the corner of my eye, it was somewhere over there, and I was thinking hand over hand. So I know for some of you, I mean, we're multi-generations, we're all making art, but for some of you, you might really like the poetics of composing. So, which means, so I have this hand and my own hand. So again, building a story. So if you want to make it more than just a design project, you start working in some thematic ideas. So in this one that I made a while ago, I'll just point out, so I did organize, so there are some hands in here. And also when I was looking at this, I was thinking of different hands. Here's an arm, this is, historical painting. So I'm kind of telling you a story through what my elements are. Here's another hand, two hands embraced. So I don't want to make it heavy-handed narrative where, this has just one message. here's another hand. And I was thinking of hands and different people from different backgrounds. So different skin tones, different ages. And so that's what I use the hand as. And here again, we see the hands, and now they're different colors here. And so the idea of representation, I mean, we could have this great talk about art and representation and thematic ideas, but I hope that gives you some notion of how you can make it a little deeper experience for yourself and more personal. I think that's another very important thing about making art is it's got to be, you know, art has a message, could have a community message, a political message, a universal message, or a super personal message. Those make this practice a deeper experience. I hope that answered your question. And, you know, I was also talking about how your eye can go through the space. So again, with my drawing here, because I like the colors that I used, that was important for me. But I'm using this idea of, so the curve in a way, the way the yellow, your eye jumps between these yellows. I like the idea that here's the arrow. Again, symbols is another way to build in more of a deeper message to your art. I did, because this is Mia, I put an M in here. And I'll be frank with you, a lot of these things I put in, I just turned off my conscious brain. And I just was going with the color and puzzling them together. But when I thought back on the M, oh, M for Mia, M for my last name. I mean, it's funny how unconsciously we pick things that are personal or close to us. If some of you might even know me, but I've been an art educator for many years. And one of the things I tell people if they come to a workshop is, oh, so today you have 2 colors on today. And look at the artwork you're doing. Now, did you use one of those colors in your artwork? Because our preferences, in some ways, when you put on your clothes in the morning, you've already sorted through, you have a definite color choice, and you've already put a combination together. Even in quarantine, you're still dressing with your preferences and your colors that you prefer. So long story short, color is kind of intuitive, but it's also learned. All right. So
Alina, sorry to jump in here again. Just wanted to give you an update on what's been going on in the chat here. Jessica says, thank you. This is great inspiration for ideas. Janice wants to let you know that if you did have a cat, that your cat would be right on top of your collage, believe me.
That's great.
Paula says, this is really nice to be able to carve out this space to create. And a lot of other people are saying, thank you for hosting. This is fun. So just wanted to give you an update on what you've been missing in the chat.
Great. And I appreciate Angela being able to be a live voice, how we miss being in a studio and in museum education. I just really enjoy when people come into a making space and we work together. So I need that feedback.
My pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see, continuing on. Now, let's say you've built up your collage, you've got your diagonal, or you've got your tic-tac-toe going like you want it, and then you've maybe put some messages in there. So I'm going to go back to now I'm going to keep composing. Oh, wow, look, I have this. No, this is, so a lot of you probably know, like in design, if you put something in the dead center, like in the middle of your piece, in the middle of your page, it's going to attract a lot of attention. So a little bit off center might be good. This orange is fantastic. So is this orange making some kind of relationship with some of these people over here? These people, I see they become animate. I start talking to them like it's not my cat, but they're live. They're coming alive. I want to find some other things. And what if there's something weird like a circle? I don't know. Then you get flowers to flowers. If they get too close, no, I'm just telling you out loud what I'm thinking. I'm thinking flowers over here. So maybe have to space out the flowers somewhere else. And again, I'm not gluing down yet because I haven't really made up my mind. But then I'm getting some, so you got bright colors. Now you want to maybe go for some more muted colors, meaning complementary colors when you mix, let's say a blue and an orange, and then you add a little white, you'll get a gray. So once the primaries get mixed up, they get less intense. So, but they're great. So here's so I wish you were all here. We could do it together, but you're doing your own thing, which is even better. Okay, I have another red here. So I'm getting that red thing going. So it's kind of interesting to see it on the camera too, which is another trick, by the way. Another trick for you is we all use our phones way too much. But one of the things about your camera phone is that if you take a picture, let's say you're working up a composition and you take a picture of your composition on your phone and then you look at it, you have a little bit of emotional distance, meaning you can see your composition maybe a little more closely. And then you can maybe realize like, oh, no, I don't like whatever piece somewhere. And you can take it out or make a dramatic change in your composition. So now I'm thinking, I kind of like the white of the paper showing through. So maybe I'm getting ready to start gluing down. And don't worry if, you know, there might even be, so if this inspiration for this open studio is the Foot in the Door show 2,000 artworks, and some are smaller than others. Some are the exact size, the 12-inch by 12-inch size. So maybe in exhibitions that I look at and I admire how they're hung, sometimes there's breathing space between the elements. So I had showed you this one where there's no breathing space, meaning edge to edge, edge to edge. You could see the torn edge a little bit. You can see the very clean edge here, especially the black compared to this dark red. So again, edges, collage and edges, that's another whole studio time for you. Do I need to cut? Yeah.
Hi, Ilene. It's Angela just popping in. Just want to let you know, I want to give you about a 5-minute warning.
Okay, yes.
And also let you know that some folks are responding to some things that you're saying. Michael says, love the idea, or maybe Michelle, sorry, loves the idea of poetics and storytelling in color, space, and theme. Chaya says, love that orange light colors that stand out. And Carrie says that the Zoom group is doing this together. We are all logged in our tablets and watching the class at our computers. This is great. And I Also wanted to let folks know that I put a link to your piece in the exhibition Mint Flow too. So if they want to check out your artwork there, they can do that too.
Great, great. Let me just finish this thought here about the breathing space between the elements. That's something that I just changed my mind to do. And the next thing I wanted to also share with you all is there's an artwork that I really admire by Frank Big Bear. He's an artist who lives in the Twin Cities. Some of you might follow his work very closely. But Mia owns this large collage piece, and it's Patti Smith. What Frank did, he had an exhibition. There was a postcard for the exhibition. He had leftover postcards from the exhibition, which had the Patti Smith photograph on it. And he used that with every single one. He changed the portrait. You're going to have to look it up. It's not on view. Well, Mia's closed right now, but it's not on view. It had been on view for a couple of years, and they have a good picture. And if you look under Explore Art on the Mia website, Frank Big Bear, and you see there are a few of his artworks that are owned by the museum, but this collage piece is exceptional. And if you like portraits, and linking this idea with the Jody Horn Saint Ruth, where it's Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and that particular piece makes Ruth, her portrait, into like a saint. So it reminds me of some of the Mexican portraits of saints. So, I mean, collage is fantastic, and you can really go far with it. And anyways, it's so much fun to talk art with you. I see we're running out of time, but I welcome any last questions. Yeah, take a look at my Mint Flow artwork. I see this. So it's like, does anybody play chess? Think of this like a chess game. Did you see the Queen's Gambit? One of the Netflix series I watched, I binge watched. But the idea of having a brain that plays chess, where some brains think about, okay, I'll make this move here. And then what will happen is that will cause this to happen. And then it will cause that to happen. And then it will cause this to happen. So think of this kind of like a chess game, where these moves will happen. Think about creating a space where there's empty space. See, I love playing. And then maybe you could make a board game. I have done a workshop where I had students design their own board game. And then we had another workshop where this is for all you with kids. You could, if you have a space where it's okay to put masking tape on your floor and it won't leave a residue, you can use tape. I got tape here. So you can use tape, and you can create a space on your floor. Like, I'm of a certain generation, like hopscotch. But I want to get back to the art idea, is that creating space in the collage form is so easy to play. And once again, I'm so happy you hung out with me, and there are really live humans out there. And we are in this together. And I think I'm going to look at you all now. One of the things I want to close with is that creativity creativity is our way to be in our imaginations, but be in community. And just like you're doing today, hanging out in this open studio, we're always looking for ways to be more creative, not be stuck, try something new, but not be so overwhelmed with some kind of product. We want to explore, improvise, and then give it away. Whatever you make, give it away, share it with somebody. Send it in an envelope to somebody. I love that. I think it's our way to communicate in this time, but in general, art communicates. And that's my soapbox message to you today. So, Angela, do we want to close with some little bit of information about January 22nd, the next open studio, Friday 1 to 2 or 1 to 1:45?
Absolutely. So it'll be here. I'll start my video so I'm not just a faceless voice anymore.
Hey.
So we will have a January 22nd from 1 to 1:45 p.m. 2 members of our art team, which is our teen employees that work here at MIA, will be doing some New Year themed art. I believe they're making like celebration poppers. It's a project that they came up with and they'll be leading. So feel free to join us then. You can use the same link that you accessed today's live stream, which will bring you right to our homepage on YouTube, and we'll live stream it via Zoom. So be sure to check that out. January 22nd, 1 to 1:45, and the information will also be on our website, artsmia.org. And that might be a cool, if you've got kiddos or teens, it might be cool to bring them along so they can see some teen artists doing some work, but it's really open for everyone. So, well, thank you so much, Ilene, for hosting this live stream today. I'm glad we got the tech all figured out, and keep an eye on Mia's website for other open studios. We do these about once a month. So
great. Thank you.